Hey, how you doing? This video is about my time when I was asexual. So, it's because I just made these videos about how to pick up horny women. When I first came out as trans, people from my past they would call me liars and everything. You have to understand that both family and friends, not all my family and not all my friends, but people within my family and people within my friends, especially the people closest to me, were narcissists, and they were gaslighting me. Narcissists also, they think everything's about them. They flip everything around so it's about them, and they don't like anyone else besides them to have the attention. So when I was asexual, nobody believed me. When I came out as bisexual, I came out when I was bisexual, probably when I was in my mid late 20s. And nobody in my family believed me. The people that I'm calling my friends now weren't even my friends yet. I hadn't even met them yet. I've moved around a lot. I said, I'm bisexual, and nobody believed me. They thought I just wanted attention and rolled their eyes. Like literally, I want to be a baseball player, rolled their eyes. I want to play guitar, rolled their eyes. They literally have done that in everything I've ever wanted to do or everything I ever tried to do. They always accused me of trying to take their attention from them. I didn't know what a narcissist was. I didn't know what an empath was. I didn't know what these things meant back then. When in their gaslighting, they would say the only reason I'm saying I'm trans is because I want attention, and because I can't get sex from women. I can't get laid, like how I mentioned that in that thing. I can leave a link in here that links a playlist about being transgender from my other YouTube channel, where you can hear me explain this, 5 years earlier than now, so you can hear me talk about it. I was a lot more talkative back then, a lot more likely to attempt to explain myself than I am now. Now I'm pretty lazy. But the thing is that when I was a single parent, and my son was living with me and I was raising my son, with the male version of me, the male sex drive, the testosterone and everything, I had an amazing sex drive. When I was married, I would have sex 2 or 3 times a day and still masturbate for an hour. And then as a single person, before and after marriage, I would masturbate, 2, 3, 4 hours a day. My sex drive was just outrageous. It would have taken a team of 3 women, wrestlers tag teaming to even remotely keep me satisfied. It was just, so I was creepy to women. So my testosterone, it's a common thing with trans women. We explain how much better of a match the female hormones are. That's especially true in my case. Back when I was single, I used to pray over and over again that the Lord just take away my penis. I knew that I couldn't cut my penis off because I'd bleed to death. But I just hated my penis so bad, and I would just, not just pray one time, Jah, please take away my penis, but I would chant, and just pray it over and over and spend an entire section of an evening just praying over and over again, please, if there's any way, please just take away my penis. Is there any way that can happen? Again, I hadn't heard of transgender people. I'd never heard of that. In pornography, there's she-males and they have penises, But they, I didn't know. I'd never heard of bottom surgery, and I hadn't even really heard of trans women yet. And it just got so bad because I've studied theology, and like I say, all over the place in my other YouTube channel, I've studied theology and spirituality. I've studied a lot about the sadhu of India and the holy Hindu monks of India. And also the Druids, they make oaths to be celibate as part of their being a monk. They're celibate, and and about how that being sexual gives your energy somewhere, that they keep that energy, and they have a technique where they pull their penis to release that energy and semen comes out and stuff. So not like a masturbation, it's more like a pulling and releasing the semen, and releasing the energy so that they can go back to just thinking about spiritual things and not have sexuality in their thoughts at all. And nowadays, if you were to look that up, like modern day, sex sells so much that nobody would listen to the Hindu monks. They tiptoe around that fact, and they try to hide from it and everything. But that really is the history of the monks, of just everybody's people. They would be naked all the time. They'd walk around town naked, and they would be celibate, and their devotees would come up and kiss them on the penis. None of it was believed to be sexual, and it wasn't. So I had them as my inspiration, that I could, so I made myself asexual. Now, a lot of people are going to think that's impossible, but you're wrong. I made myself asexual, because I just believed, I just hated my penis so bad. I hated sexuality so bad. I was creepy to women, just like, it was such a nightmare. And then just like abuse and just all the bad things that have happened and everything, just all the horror, the humiliating rejections and everything, just everything about me when it comes to sex is more, more times of that, more rejections, more masturbation, more desire, more of everything, more, In my 20s, I used to live in topless bars. I spent all my money. It's like in my mid and early 20s, I just lived in topless bars, I was just obsessed with strippers, and would spend all my money on that and everything. And it was just a living hell, really. And so then when I became asexual, I finally was able to, it was just really a spiritual experience. I was finally able to think about other things and follow through with the spirituality and the things I'd learned and everything. I became more introspective. I started getting somewhere in a better way, in a deeper way than ever before. And in that, that's when I started, trying to find answers with gender. Like, I used to, like when I was really young, like when I used to run or do something really athletic, I would pretend I was a girl, but I wouldn't tell anybody. Really strict, because I would think they would think I was a fag. And that would make me run faster, and it would make, if I would think, you're a girl when I'm doing physical things, it would make me do them better, And I was always really jealous of women, but yet really obsessed with women, just like everything. Like I said, everything's more with me. More obsession, more of this, And I don't like to get in the contest. Men are all, yeah, I'm like that too. It's like, you're actually not. I've done the research. But anyway, I don't get into the contest. That's not really what this is about. But it was when I was asexual that I was able to finally be introspective enough and everything to hear about trans women. And as soon as I heard about it, as soon as like the same day that I heard about it, I knew that I was transgender, and I knew that it would never change, and that it wasn't like other things. It wasn't a whimsical thing, but it was something I couldn't run away from, that I forever would be different now from knowing that, And then I just I researched the subject more and more, and became more and more convinced. So of course the adversary of transgender people say, yeah, that's why there's more transgender people, because they research and things like that, and they think that's where the satanic brainwashing takes place and things like that. The problem is by their fruits ye shall know them. The difference between good and evil produces bad fruit, and good produces good fruit. So goodness came from it. And then I went on female hormones, and right now the people say, no, you learn better when you're younger. But if I went back to college, I would do better now. My brain works better. I'm actually better with physical activities and sports. In every area of life, my brain works better, and it's just female hormones are a better match, and I'm just better in every way. Really, I'm not physically stronger. I could have jumped, lifted, I could have done everything physical better before, but in every other way, I'm better. I'm smarter. I'm more spiritual. I'm more mentally healthy. I learn faster. I retain information better. Just everything you can think of is better. It's a gigantic miracle, And with that came a new attraction to men and a new relationship with sexuality that was this time beneficial and a good thing. So personally, I believe that's why I believe, and I've said this in other videos, that being transgender is a tendency, and the more you go down that road, the more the epigenetics and the different things affect your genetics and your everything and change everything, because that's just what we know happens to a human. Choices you make affect who you are, and it makes it even more true. What you give thought to grows, and so it's just like, like that tendency was always there. I have memories from age probably 4, because it was before I moved to Monroe and went to kindergarten. And then the first time I had sex, of course, was with a boy. My original attraction was to a boy, and an older boy manipulated me into having sex with him. He said, we can pretend you're a girl. And we had sex, and I was like, I loved it. I was like, it was a little uncomfortable, anal sex at first when you have it, for just a 6-year-old, it can be a little bit intense, but I just loved being touched and handled and treated like a girl, and pretending I was a girl was an idea I loved, and just little things like that, and there's many of them. So I believe that I was born that way. But I don't think that, I don't like to I'd rather not use that argument, because I think that it's not as inclusive, Everybody's going to be different and going to be trans for a different reason and learn. Some people are going to figure it out young, some people old. And I don't think it should matter. It just gives the enemy more tools to try to, because like you can feel when you're trans, you can feel the enemy putting their greasy fingers all over your business and trying to figure out, trying to figure out how to ruin everything so you follow their program because it's the truth and your truth isn't the truth, and greasy hands all over, And so, it's just better to keep it simple, that it doesn't matter, Just like it doesn't matter what your chromosomes are for your gender. It's like, whoever said that every minute detail has to be the same? If we know that a third gender is part of nature and everything else, then it's just the way things are, They're not trying hard enough. And I've done videos on that too, but the thing is, like asexuality generally is something that you just always are. It's not something that comes and goes like it did with me. But so that's why I never really told that part of the story, that it was self-induced. I made myself asexual, and it was, things happen for a reason. It was relevant to how I figured out that I was transgender, but sexuality is not the reason I'm transgender, which is what the gaslighters would say. They would say it's just because you were rejected. If you would have met the right woman, then right now you wouldn't be transgender and things like that. But then, that's just not how things work. By their fruits you shall know them. That wouldn't have, I'd been engaged many times and married and had serious relationships. I'd already done those things before, and they never worked before. Why would they work ever? Why would they work now? It's just because that's what they need to believe, and they're wrong. And I shouldn't have to pay a price that they're wrong like that, It was just, asexuality was just one of the steps I had to go through, and it's a blessing, and it's something that I'll be thankful for the rest of my life. And if there's an afterlife, for all that time too, I believe life's a spiral, and I believe in reincarnation. But I don't claim to know everything about those details either. So that's why I was asexual, and that's the story. In case you meet any of the gaslighters from my past, they're horrible people. That's why I don't have anything to do with them. You know, they mean to bring me down. They don't really care about me. They just want to be right, and they think I've stole attention from them and things like that. That's typical of narcissists.